Welcome to the Kameron Show. I'm your friend, Kameron Tyler. I'm so happy you're here today. We're coming to you from Dude IDK Studios in Denver. And for our second season finale, this is not going to be my show for the next hour. I'm going to be the guest instead of the host. So without further ado, I'm turning the hosting responsibilities over to who you might know as producer Michael, my best friend, Mikel Philippi.
All right. Thanks for being on time. I understand we only have the room reserved for an hour. Can you please confirm your name?
It's Kameron Tyler Greer Canton Martinez the first.
Okay, fantastic. And as you know, this is being recorded. That's for your protection as much as mine.
Thanks.
Now, according to our records, can you please confirm you're the primary representative for gay affairs?
I am the primary representative for gay affairs.
Fantastic. And my name, for the record, Mikel Philippi. I'll be representing straight operations for today's evaluation.
Okay.
Now, can you please repeat your last names?
My full name is Kameron Tyler Greer Canton Martinez the first.
Okay, we'll just go with Kameron Tyler.
We'll go with Kameron Tyler.
Mr. Tyler, as we are both aware, public polling suggests ongoing skepticism about whether gay-straight friendships are structurally sound and advisable in today's climate. Our purpose here today is simply to determine the ongoing viability of this gay-straight partnership.
Okay.
Clarify any unresolved jurisdictional overlap.
Okay.
And determine if our interdepartmental agreement, heretofore known as friendship, is approved for extension.
Okay.
I'll be asking a series of questions. Some will be straightforward. Some may feel clarifying.
Great.
If at any point you need to pause, deflect with humor, or request legal counsel, that is a totally natural response and is allowed within policy.
Are you going to answer any questions?
I am happy to answer anything I can in my role as representative of straight operations.
So for gays, it's gay affairs, but for straights, it's straight operations?
That is how...
Is that meant to imply that gays have affairs and straights just operate?
Mr. Tyler, if you want to read more into the language here, that is certainly your prerogative, but I assure you this is all standard language.
Okay.
All right. So with your consent to proceed, let's begin the evaluation. I do request that you answer honestly. Evasiveness creates additional paperwork.
Okay.
Now, before we get too far into the questions, we're going to begin with just an orientation overview. This section code SIP for the record.
Oh, SIP.
You see what I did there?
Some nice, easy questions it sounds like we're going to do.
But before we get too far in, let's establish some background. You recently moved a significant project from this partnership, project title The Kameron Show, to another team. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And what was the justification for that move?
The justification for that move is that I wanted to have a change in the quality of the production, and moving the show to Dude IDK Studios gave me a space where I wouldn't have to transform my home into a makeshift studio. So even though I loved working with producer Michael, which I'm not really sure if you're supposed to be the same person or not, because this is a really weird episode of The Kameron Show. Even though I loved working with producer Michael, I just want it to be known I'm still working with two straight men. So really, actually, I doubled the amount of straight representation on the Kameron Show staff.
Oh, that is wonderful. That was not in our record, so I am happy to update that. We like to ensure the partnership remains strong, cross-departmental.
It was solely a quality thing, and also producer Michael was doing all of the work pro bono, and it included a lot of laborious smuggling of items into my house from outside sources that I didn't want him to have to be burdened with anymore. Okay. So it was really a martyr kind of situation, I would say.
Yes. And we will be striking smuggling from the record. Okay. But ensuring that it was not an issue with the actual producer itself, I think it's safe to say that, yes, I filled both roles. Another background question. Our partnership is not your first interdepartmental agreement with straight operations.
No.
For the record, who is your original gay-straight friendship with?
My first straight guy friend, because I'm assuming you're talking about straight men.
Straight men, obviously.
Okay. So that would be Jordan Betcher. We became friends in 9th grade, though we've known each other since 7th grade.
And do you think he had an easier or a harder time with it? Because I have only been friends with you since you were out, Cameron.
Jordan was friends with me before I came out of the closet, obviously, because I didn't come out till I was 16, and he had a more difficult time than you did for sure, because he had to tell people, well, he didn't have to, but he chose to defend me. That's in air quotes, by the way. There's nothing to defend if you're gay. He had to tell people that I was not gay because that's what I was saying at the time, and he wanted me to have my own control of my own narrative.
Oh, fantastic. I wanted to make sure we got that on the record. Here in Straight Operations, we respect legacy.
Yes.
And we thank Jordan for his service.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
He'll always be the first.
An early adopter.
An early
adopter.
adopter.
Certainly.
Yeah, and the year was 2003 when we met, so very impressive.
All right. Well, focusing now on our partnership a little tighter.
Okay.
How often do you find yourself telling people behind my back, I know, but he really is straight?
All the time, because a lot of people think that Michael is not straight. I have done my due diligence to know he is. I've heard too much to not know.
Due
for
diligence
sure.
Sounds highly suggestive.
Yeah.
Which type of people seem to have the hardest time accepting it?
The people who have the hardest time accepting it are the people who just haven't been around you long enough.
Gay men, straight men, or women?
Oh, gay men.
Gay men have the hardest time. And do you ever think it's because some of them are hopeful?
Yeah. I would say, example, Chad Hinton. I'll name names.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I'm going to be the guest this week, I'm going to name names.
And we actually do have a flag for him in our file, so I appreciate you.
Yes, flag him for sure. Flag my ex-husband, Alex Mazzetti. Famously hopeful that you're a homosexual, or at least a bisexual, or a pan, or I don't know, whatever other options there are these days.
Deeply flattering. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Another quick one. I notice sometimes I get annoyed on behalf of gay men when people say men, but clearly mean just straight guys. Does that bother you too? Or is that me being hyper aware for ally points?
I think that when people are talking shit about men, I would like to think it includes gay and straight men. But if they're also only talking about straight men, I could understand that and it doesn't bother me.
Okay. We're glad to get you on the record for that.
Wow.
And I appreciate we are breezing right along, which is fantastic.
My God, I know. This is a lot.
What's the earliest moment you realized you were outside the version of masculinity that boys are supposed to fit into? And this is one I'm happy to answer as well.
Well, is yours because you love the Spice Girls?
That is definitely a very early one for me, but I feel like I have an even more crystallized one.
Okay, well, mine, if for some reason there's someone listening right now who hasn't read my book, A Mural in Space, A Gay Boy's Memoir, I'll tell you, earliest could be dressing up in my dad's work shirt and pretending I'm Snow White, cutting the tip off my Dracula wig to have the hair black as coal. Or it could be trying to throw a football while sitting on a bench with my legs crossed and my mom's sunglasses on. Or it could be willing to sacrifice my own life if I could have the Pocahontas Barbie doll for Christmas. How about you?
Solid lineup.
Yeah.
Mine is so specifically, so you know, I have an older sister, which I think is already, when you have an eldest sister and then two brothers, you're already ripe for moments like this in childhood. But I do remember one time we were up in her bedroom and it was like a weekend afternoon or something. And she had like a blue tulle kind of probably Cinderella Sleeping Beauty style dress. And I remember she put it on me.
Oh.
And then it was like with our neighbor girl who lived next door to us for years and years. And we like went outside in it. And I remember my dad was talking to the neighbor girl's dad over the fence in the backyard. And I can like in my mind's eye exactly remember what his face looked like when he saw me come out. And I was like, hey. do you guys like my super cool dress?
How
And
have I never heard this?
immediately he was like, which another one for me.
Wait, that your dad did?
Yeah.
So did he use one of his famous phrases like a little sugar in the tank, a little light in the loafers?
He was always a fan of light in the loafers for sure. And I
Okay.
would say he was never like aggressively anti any of that. Because obviously,
Yeah.
if that's a Lifetime movie, that scene gets very aggressive and very dark.
Yeah.
There was no like punishment or anything, but it was
Thank
definitely a
God.
moment of like, I don't think we should be encouraging this necessarily, which was an early one for me, certainly. And what do you think when in the ones that you listed,
Yeah.
what was the reaction of men around you?
The reaction of men around me. Well, so for throwing the football, that was because my dad wanted to throw the ball with me outside, and I was not into the idea at all. So then when I like sat on the bench with my legs crossed and my mom's sunglasses on, he realized this was not a battle he was going to win. For the Pocahontas Barbie doll, my dad famously would say, "At least he's playing with Barbie, not Ken." Ironic, hilarious, jokes on him. For the dressing up in my dad's work shirt, it resulted in my grandpa giving me the nickname Cinderfella. I had 2 nicknames from him, Kameron and Cinderfella, and I only liked having that nickname. I think he meant it very much like half lovingly and half like he's a fag, but I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't love homophobia, but we do appreciate good wordplay.
I appreciate
And
a certain level of homophobia.
that one sits somewhere on the Venn diagram for me, where I'm like, he kind of ate with.
There is a
Cinderfella.
humorous homophobia when it's not like dangerous homophobia. But sometimes with old people, and maybe this is a hot take. Maybe I'm finally answering Vernia Rodriguez's question about what's my vapid hot take. Old people who are homophobic and who are harmless, I find it a little endearing.
Yeah, and I think especially, with your grandpa, you get that read of if it is a little bit
like it's ignorance, it's not hatred.
Right.
Yeah.
And to some degree, I'm sure it's also him exploring. Humor is not the worst outlet for people to explore discomfort or not being sure how to relate to something or something not meeting their expectations. They're like, I'm just going to make a little joke out of it and try to just keep moving forward.
Exactly.
There's certainly worse things to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, throughout our partnership together, which is we're going on 10 years plus.
Yeah. And I love that you call it a partnership.
A little 10 years plus. Oh, that will come up later.
Oh.
A lot of people have been exposed to our partnership. Some of the people that you've had to go, yes, I know, but really he is straight.
Yeah.
And I remember that at least some of the people we've talked to, especially gay men who've gotten a chance to see our friendship partnership up close.
Yeah.
Tend to have a bit of a reaction. Sometimes somewhat emotional reaction. What do you think it is about our friendship that can hit people so hard?
I think I'm gonna just be so authentically real during this episode.
Go for it.
One of the people who has had this is my cousin Brittany, who famously also, though, has accused me of having a secret romantic relationship with multiple of my male friends, whether they're gay or straight. Which is really funny because if that were the case, she's definitely somebody that I would tell about it. So anyway, you are one of the people that she has accused.
Certainly.
Made that accusation with. I think what it is that people are very not accustomed to seeing a close straight male, gay male friendship that is, I would use the word intimate, but I think that a lot of people have a lot of their own perceptions and connotations with that word. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that when you have something that is that close and spans that long, and this goes for like in the times when we've been the closest and also even when we're fighting or have had disagreements or eras of discomfort in the past, it almost seems, people draw lines to what they know. And so if that's not what they normally picture for a friendship, they might correlate that with a romantic relationship because they don't have the right color of crayon, if that makes sense, to know that's its own thing.
They don't have a language for it or a frame for it.
Yeah.
Which I think it's funny the way that you tiptoed around intimate right there. I think that within our time becoming closer friends, we have both developed some capability for like, and before you think this, before you think that, where you guard the language, where you're like, I don't want to say it's a very intimate friendship because then we have to do the whole thing where people are like, oh, I get ya, wink, wink.
But
and
that's
like,
a them
no.
thing,
right?
Not a me thing or a you thing. We know, but I think people don't have that connotation with the word intimate. They go directly to romantic when that is not necessarily true.
Right. And I would offer up that, and this might just be a positive commentary on the straight men that I spend my time with.
Yeah.
That gay men have more of an outsized reaction to our friendship than straight men.
Actually, I would agree with that. I honestly can't think of any straight man I know who's ever insinuated that you were gay. If I really think about it.
Right. But some of the gays got their fingers crossed.
But a lot of gays have been like, no, he's definitely gay. And I'm like, okay, babes, he's not, but okay.
I know.
He doesn't care if you think so go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, what's your relationship to the F slur?
Fag?
Yeah, which obviously...
Which you can't say.
Cross-departmental.
But I can.
Delicate about.
My relationship with the word is if a gay person says it, I don't mind. If a straight person says it, I don't love it. Although I will say there was one time, I'm naming names again, Nissa is one of my dearest friends, but when I met Nissa, she was a registered Republican. Her mom is a Republican politician, and I won't say their last name. But my friend Nissa was a Republican and came from a more conservative background. And when we were in college, we almost got in a car accident. Shockingly, I wasn't driving, she was. But we had to swerve to miss a car. And she went, oh, you fat. And she caught herself mid-word. And then she ended up being like, you fat. Sorry. And just looked at me. And I think it is one of the funniest things that's ever happened. And so sometimes I scream fat into the phone at her and then say sorry.
Oh, fantastic.
So, generally, if you're straight, don't say that word. It's, first of all, it's cringe.
It is cringe.
And gay people, I do feel like a lot of people feel differently about this. I know a lot of gay people who are like, no one should say it ever. It is a word that is bad. I am personally a proponent of reclaiming the word. That's my official stance for gays.
Gotcha. Yeah. And as you know, one thing that I say a lot is for being a straight man, I have been called that slur many times in my life. Although a lot of them, to be fair, are middle school, which is kind of garbage time because who wasn't getting called that in middle school in the early 2010s?
And the other half is from most of the gays in Denver.
Yeah. So really not too much to complain about.
But you
there.
Still can't say it.
Not a real cross the bear.
You can't say it if you've been perceived as gay, only if you really are.
That's true. And that's a thing that we've always talked about is that my relationship to the word is I understood it was intended to be an insult. And at the time, I probably didn't have the vocabulary and certainly not the exposure to gay community to be like, oh, let me think about this in a really profound way. But I know a couple years into us being friends, I did have the revelation where I'm like, oh, a lot of people got called the F slur in middle school, high school, whatever. And some of us, when we heard it, we're like, that's not true. And some of us, when we heard it, we're like, that is true. And I'm like, oh, and that's actually a million times worse.
Yes, because and I have said this to you, the difference between you being called a fag in middle school and me being called a fag in middle school is that you got to go home and go to bed at night and be like, they're not right. I had to go home and go to bed at night and be like, they know. And I'm going to have to reckon with this eventually. And I am 12. I don't know how to reckon with it, but there's no one I can talk to about it. That's the difference.
That is the difference. And that's a pretty big difference.
That's a pretty big difference.
All right, being mindful of our time here, we're going to pivot into internal review, section code SVR. And this is going to be more of a mid-tier assessment of emotional workflow, communication pathways, and relational competencies.
Wait, what's SVR?
What was the first section code?
Oh, SAVOR.
There
Oh,
we
okay.
go.
I thought SVR was
You
like
see what
initials.
you see what we're kind of doing.
Okay.
Okay, great. What's a strength you see in me that you wish you had, and a strength you have that you don't think I notice?
The first one is very easy for me to answer. I think that you are so much better than me when it comes to a blanket kindness toward people. I think that you're better at saying nice things about people. Even if I think you don't, I'm not going to say you don't mean them, but you're really good at being nice in situations that it would be really hard. And I'm not as good at that. Sometimes I don't want to be nice, and then I'm just not. I've never seen you do a mean thing, which is crazy. I would like to see it. What was the second question?
A strength you have that you don't think I notice or give you credit for.
That's actually really hard for me to answer, and I hate to toot your horn for you, but I think that one of the reasons I am able to have the relationship I have with you is because you see not only all of the things that I'm good at, but you also know my areas for improvement. So I don't, off the top of my head, I can't think of a strength I have that you don't know about. I think you're pretty aware of my strengths.
Do you think that has to do with how skilled you are at broadcasting your own strengths?
I think it is. I am a stereotypical Leo, and I like to talk about my strengths. And so, when I think about my strengths, I'm like, no, he knows about that. He knows about that. He knows about that. Yeah.
Yeah. In the spirit of sip, savor, spill, I would say that, yeah, for you, I have unabashed confidence, or just, it's not, and sometimes it's not even confidence, because I think confidence suggests that you have no qualms about doing a given thing. It's maybe not even that. It's your ability to push into things like writing books, writing biographies, starting a podcast, whether that confidence is there or not. I think it often is. It's possible that sometimes it is presented as being there when it's not entirely.
Yeah, sometimes you fake it till you make it.
But the end result is you still do it.
I still do it. Wait, I want you to answer this.
The strength I have that I don't think you always notice?
Yeah.
I think sometimes I can be a little bit conniving, which is mostly in my, professional life, not my personal as much, but I can be sneaky.
You can be sneaky. I definitely do know that. And you have a knack in some situations for massaging circumstances, I would say. That is true. Maybe I don't notice it enough. Maybe you've done it more than I recognize. I would also love to see it.
Yeah, I think you could just talk about it more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we've joked. This was the one I promised you earlier.
Wait, what was the other question? I want you to answer that too.
I answered both of them. I said you have unabashed confidence / go for it, Ness.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay, so we've joked about being non-sexual platonic life partners.
Yes.
If you transplanted our dynamic, the trust, the honesty, the loyalty, into your romantic life, what part of it wouldn't survive the move?
What, out of those three things?
No. Those are just examples. Any part of our dynamic
that wouldn't survive the. So, like, what in our relationship would I find most difficult to have with a romantic partner? Well, that's also, I'll tell you the reason why that's hard for me to answer.
Okay.
That's hard for me to answer because when I think about our relationship, I think about it as it is now. But we have 10 years. So after 10 years, what of all of the things that we have now that would be hard to automatically just transfer to a new romantic partner, it would be that I don't care what state you see me in. But that has developed over 10 years. I did feel that way about you very quickly. But that would be like if I were looking at our relationship as it is now, and like the hardest thing that I can do with you that would be hard for me to do with a romantic partner is be ugly. I don't care if I'm my ugliest self in front of you. I've done it. I have come to you in a state of disarray. I'm thinking of a particular evening about a year ago.
Sure.
And I would not do that with anyone that I'd be dating in the near future.
Okay, love that answer while we're at it.
Thank you.
That was very good. I was going to say the one thing, it wasn't necessarily being ugly. I think the thing that you've really evolved most with me over time about me seeing you is seeing you in different circumstances with different people. That was like such a narrative of because we were kind of really locked in as a COVID friendship.
Yeah.
Which just naturally set itself to like, oh, great. And it's going to be one-on-one. And if I'm seeing anyone else, oh, you can't be there.
Yeah.
And famously, you have a lot of different pockets of people.
I do. And I am a compartmentalist by nature. And so, yes, what you're referring to is that for a very long time, I did not like mixing my groups of friends. So I could have two best friends who did not know each other. And for me, I liked that because it was easier to manage.
Which ironically, I think fueled some of the early friendships suspicion that they were like, this can't be just his straight guy friend, because they're like, he never brings anybody around.
Yeah. Yes. But you are the first person that I started doing that with, of being like, okay, this is like, he's going to come with me to these different places and these different groups, and made it easier to start doing that. And now I don't really have a compartmentalist, like a need to be compartmentalizing.
Yeah, you have made a huge movement on that.
Yeah, shout out to you, and also to my therapist, Nicole Meshko.
Yeah, this was all, I mean, I can't take too much credit for Nicole. She paved the road. I'm just driving down it.
Yeah.
Shout out, Nicole.
Shout out.
Talking about you knowing a whole lot of people and about controlling how you're perceived by them, if you charted your life like an org chart, and all of this, is obviously designed for your very HR brain to kick in.
Thank you.
How many people know the real you? How many people know the curated 50% real you? And how many people only ever get the performance review version?
Sorry, my ex-husband is trying to FaceTime me. Do you want to answer it?
He
and
knew
tell him
I
we're
was
busy?
near.
Should I just ignore it?
Ignore him.
Okay.
This is about us.
Sorry, Alex. That was me trying to deflect from the question. But Alex, the timing came in clutch. But I will answer the question. How many people know the real me? I would say the most authentic version of me that, and I'll use my previous tool of measurement for this, of people that I would let see me ugly. You, the girls, which is...
Oh, you're naming names. Okay.
I'll name the girls. Mariah, Mackenzie, Carissa, Teresa, and Amy. And my sister Jennifer and Brittany, for sure, can see me ugly, and it's fine. And other than that, I don't like to do that. I will say now, 50% is pretty low. I think I give people more than 50%, even if they're not in
75.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty open book, and almost everyone else gets that because, even if I'm first meeting someone, there is really no conversation I won't have. Now, whether they want to have it or not is another thing.
That's irrelevant.
But the thing about me is I'm always willing to have that conversation, whatever that conversation may be. So I think I honestly, the only people who get a performance appraisal version of me that's completely curated would be anyone that only knows me through social media. But even then, I have friends, Aaron Simon, Tori Timmons, that we've been friends for years on social media, and I've had more intimate conversations with than people I know in 3D. So honestly, I do feel like a lot of people get a very authentic version of me. But if we are saying who would I be ugly in front of? Yeah, of course, there's a smaller group of people.
Which is so funny. I'll tell you, this is the first question where you really have answered it not in the way I expected you to.
How'd you expect?
And I was ready for a follow-up question because I thought here was I'm going to mentally process Cameron's answer ahead of time.
Okay.
I was like, I think he'll, in his head, count a reasonable number of people and then pad a couple extras just in case anyone doesn't fit into that first circle. He's like, I'm going to build in leeway. So if anyone's like, was I in that first circle? You're like, yeah, you could fit in there.
I'm naming
10.
names.
You're naming names today. All right.
Yeah. And if I didn't say your name, you know what? Yeah, there are probably other people that I'm not naming. The people I named are certainly the people that I would prefer to be ugly in front of. Have I been ugly in front of other people? Yes. Ask Alex. Ask my ex-husband. I've been very ugly in front of him.
You got front row seats.
I've been ugly in front of Drew. Like, I've been ugly in front of different people, but like, if I had my pick, those are, the main people I would prefer.
I think this goes right to that preference. You do have a long record of managing how you're perceived, and you do it better than anyone else that I know.
Thank you.
What's the fear underneath that? Being misunderstood?
Okay.
How someone might react if they understood you completely, or something else?
I think it's the same as everybody who curates a version of themselves for the public or for the world to see, is that I think it's especially like it's a very millennial thing, I think. I think that millennials are very unique in that, unlike Gen X, we grew up with digital versions of ourselves. And unlike Gen Z, we also grew up with a private version of ourselves. So we are a very specific generation that grew up having this and this, like a very binary way of presenting ourselves. And I think that I'm really no different than any millennial at having an online persona or a public like persona and a private self. I don't think maybe I'm better at it than a lot of people. I mean, if you said I'm very good at it, I don't want to change your words. And thank you for the compliment.
Yes,
I've received that compliment a few times. Mostly from you and Jordan, ironically. Straight men find me very good at it. I can't say. But yeah, I think it's more a millennial thing than a Cameron thing.
Do you think it was the worst thing to happen to millennials, the MySpace top 8?
I think it was the best thing to happen to millennials because I used it as a tool.
That's true. You were doing pretty advanced strategy.
My therapist has recently told me that I'm a bit of a sadist. And that I have punitive tendencies. I have come to admit that this is true. I used the top 8 for exactly that. And obviously I've grown a lot. I wouldn't use the top 8 in the same way now. Or would I? I don't know. We'll never know. We don't have it anymore. But I used it to be like, well, you are spending less time with me because you got a boyfriend, so you're not in my top 8 anymore because I have to move on.
Which is, of course, imagine that I had the exact opposite problem of the top 8. Number one, didn't it become at some point you could put it up to like 16?
Yeah.
So I was like, I always had whatever the maximum number of people possible was. And
of course you did.
And this is the same thing. This is the direct parallel from being a child and you had your stuffed animals. And you were like, oh my gosh, I can't put one over on the shelf and the other one's going to be in the bed because then I'm going to feel bad that Scooby-Doo's going to feel excluded over there. And that was always how I was with my MySpace top whatever as well, where I was like, oh gosh, I really don't want to have to bump somebody off there. What if they get mad at me? And that's the difference between punitive and people pleaser.
That's the difference between me and you. But it's also the reason why I think the way I am more cutthroat than you are, and the way that you are more, I almost said virtuous, but I don't think you're that much more virtuous than me.
No, I don't think so.
I think that you are, I also don't even think you're more kind than me, but I think you are more nice than me. That's a main difference.
Interesting. How are we gonna draw the line between nice and kind?
Because I think that kind and nice are different in the sense that, like, kind is you're not hurting anyone and you're doing your best to take care of what people need.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas nice is you care most about making sure everyone feels good.
Ooh, okay. I can buy that definition.
I would prefer honesty over someone feeling good. And if I don't like someone, I'll say I don't like someone instead of, trying to find something good, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I don't want to be in a situation, I will typically leave a situation rather than to be nice, try to make everything rosy or to come off likable.
Mm-hmm.
It might shock people, but I care less about being liked than being honest. I think a lot of people don't think that about me.
Right, which I don't think the thing, even at your quote unquote worst, we'll say, or least healed, maybe we'll say. I don't think your thing has ever been that you want to cultivate likable.
Yeah.
Yours is a different
never cared
thing. What would you describe that as?
Well, the way I've described it to you before is I'd rather be respected than be liked.
Mm-hmm.
And where do I get that? My mother.
Right.
I'm not here to deny that. I mean, it is a very Lisa trait.
Mm-hmm.
And Lisa, if you're listening, thank you, because I actually do like that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
My mom raised me, and I think it's because she knew, A, because my mother's unhealed, and B, because she knew that I was gay. She raised me to not have a need to be liked, but to be respected.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like when we were kids, if she always told us, when you go to school, if someone ever hits you, do not turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter about being nice. When someone hits you, you hit them back twice as hard. Now that is overkill, but I think there's something to be said about not taking anything laying down.
Yeah, you got to call out that is so funny that it's not just hit them back proportionally.
No.
It is
twice as hard.
Double it as a deterrent to future hitting or for having the...
Yes. And I think there is a happy medium between turning the other cheek and hitting them back twice as hard.
Just hitting them back as hard.
Maybe.
Would be the middle ground.
Maybe.
Now, let's jump back a little bit to your definition of kind, not because my ego is being triggered by you being more kind than me. But I
didn't say I was more kind than you.
I think you did. But in kind, you said taking care of what they need. Who's defining need?
Me.
All right,
I also will be very open and honest that I think I know better than everybody what everybody needs. This is something I am working on. I'm healing, not healed. Yeah, I'm determining what people need.
Okay.
But ultimately, me, what do I need? And I'll do it in the kindest way possible if I need to make an adjustment. But me.
Somehow I had a hunch from our experiences together that maybe that's what it was. I just want to make sure we got that teased out for the record.
Well, let the record also show that I'm typically correct. Typically.
Don't worry, we'll get to that one later too.
Great. Love that. Let's talk about it.
All right, moving into our third section here, breaches and a continuation decision. Section code SPL.
Spill.
There we go.
Wow, it's going to get deep.
Now, I pride myself on being the straight guy who fits in queer spaces. You know that I do. I like to be humble about it, but ultimately at my core, I do pride myself on not being an obtrusive straight presence, perhaps.
Okay.
What blind spots do I still have in those spaces?
I think... What blind spots do you have in going into queer spaces?
Yeah, queer spaces, queer community, metaphorically, not necessarily like, what am I doing wrong at gay bars?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you're doing anything wrong at gay bars or in our groups of friends. I think you're so well integrated that, when I was in college, I used to go party at CU all the time and mooch off my friends' Boulder experience. And at the end of college, when graduation was happening, multiple people are like, what time is your graduation? And I was like, I never went to school here. I've been here the whole time, but you guys thought I went to school here, but I didn't. That is how you are, where I think it could be years into someone knowing you, and then they're like, wait, Michael has a girlfriend? And I'm like, yeah, you mean for the last 4 years you haven't known? He doesn't even go here. So I don't know, with that level of camouflage, or adaptability and fitting in. I don't know that you have very many blind spots. I think in a lot of cases you're actually a more politically correct person than I am in queer spaces.
Okay, great. Just glad that we got that on the
I'd give you an
record
A
for sure.
plus.
Crushing it. I know. Actually, one of the funniest things that I do always think about is because, through you and through other people in our friend group, I do spend a lot of time in queer spaces.
Yeah.
And I do have a girlfriend who I also go in public with, sometimes in queer spaces. There have to be people around town who see me at like a restaurant with my girlfriend and are like, oh, this guy's DL.
This guy's DL, which is crazy because he was at Buddy's and X Bar and Tracks last weekend. Yeah, no, and I think like your girlfriend Olivia, she's also extremely good at being a straight person in queer spaces.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I don't even have any complaints about who you've brought with you into this world. It's like you could not have brought a more well-versed straight person with you. So great.
Yes, which is funny because I feel like the way that I'm in this partnership has impacted multiple aspects of my dating life in the past. Because I was thinking on the way over here, not even in that one, but I was thinking on the way over here. One, remember the date I went on with the girl who I ordered a peach mint julep,
and she said that was fruity.
Peach mule. And she said, that's a little fruity.
Yeah.
In my mind, 6 minutes into the date, I was like, oh, this is done. Which that is truly the one time I wish I had been like, I'm just going to walk away right now, actually, because that would have been such a satisfying power move.
Ironically, I find that girl to be iconic, but I would hate if you dated her.
I know.
But do I find that iconic that a woman called you fruity to your face for ordering a cocktail? Kind of. That is the homophobia I do find comical. Because it's just so dumb. Like, that girl's dumb.
It's a little camp.
But it's camp.
Yeah.
It's camp. It's tap.
It's tap.
It's tap.
And the other one, the even better one of all time, was the girl who went on one date, thought it seemed to go well, and then she texted me afterwards, or no, on the date, told me, she was like, I do think, she said, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried sleeping with a man?
Yeah. Yeah, that girl, and you know what? Props to her for saying it to your face.
Yes. Is it though? She probably could have just kept it quiet and been like, oh, I wasn't really feeling a spark.
I think it was brave of her to say it to your face.
Yeah, and truly the most unhinged part was she said, if you try it and then you're sure you're not, then we can go out again.
That sounds a little kinky to me, TBH.
Which was very crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy work. All right. Do you think within our partnership we've fallen into roles where I'm the good, nice, straight boy and you're the naughty gay boy? And what limits does that put on our friendship?
I don't think I'm a naughty person. I think I've done naughty things. So let's get that straight, for lack of a better word. I think that we certainly have people's perceptions placed upon us that maybe I'm bossy.
It's their fault.
And also, by the way, I think that for a while it was true and now it's really not. We've both done enough work where people might still have the conception that I'm like the Wicked Witch and you're just my flying monkey. But I think we certainly do have roles with each other.
Also, I thought you were gonna say I was Glinda. And you knocked me
no,
down.
People know because I think that's what some people think. But you are more like Galinda. Actually, you'd be more like Elphaba if that were the case.
Okay.
You're more of an Elphaba and I'm more of a Galinda.
That's kind of true.
I'm popular.
Or I'm actually good.
And I'm actually popular.
I'm actually good at heart.
No, you are good at heart.
You're teaching me to be popular.
Yeah, and you would stand up for animals.
True.
Famously. And I famously don't hate the establishment if I can find my way to make it work for me.
That is actually the truest part of the whole thing. That you're like, no, but think about it this way.
That's a joke, really.
I'm on the inside of the machine.
But we've jokingly said that I'm a Hillary Clinton Democrat because of that, that I don't necessarily hate the establishment if I can figure it out. But do we have roles that we have fallen into? Sure. I mean, I'm more likely to schedule something.
True.
You're more likely to spontaneously join something. I'm more likely to do certain things. You're more likely to do certain things. And it balances out, fortunately.
Yeah. Do you think if I ever rejected part of my role, what would we say? It's pliability,
I think you
adaptability,
have.
just general willingness to go along with?
You have.
I have.
Do you think you haven't?
Tell me about that.
Well, first of all, you're much less responsive on text than you used to be.
That's true.
It takes a lot longer to get a response. So if you want something urgently, don't text him, call him, because he is not as responsive. On top of that, I think you, with your workout routines, are a lot more likely to, even though you still, I think, have FOMO, you're a lot more likely to be like, sorry, I can't do that because I have this. And it is not even like a commitment to another person, but to yourself, which is very admirable.
Thank you.
I think that pliability, do you mean like flexibility and willingness to say yes? And on top of that, you are very committed to your professional life, and sometimes that includes things that happen at nighttime, and like if you have a work commitment, you're gonna do that, and that part's not new, but it's an example of how you are a lot less flexible than before, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it doesn't make me angry.
Oh my gosh, those were all so flattering. Thank you for working in my commitment to working out.
Did you think I was going to come on here as a guest and not be flattering to you?
I am on like a 320-day streak on Peloton. No big.
Yeah, he's really good at working out.
All right, here's a big one. The Kameron Show, as a concept, has been around much longer than this podcast.
Yeah.
For the viewers who don't know, what is the origin of The Kameron Show?
For the viewers that don't know, I did explain this, but it was in the early part of the first season. My cousin Brittany came up with the term The Kameron Show, parentheses, derogatory, because she thought that I acted really fake when we would, like, it was not uncommon for us to run into people that knew me, like at the mall or something, and this was in college. And obviously, if I'm an acquaintance with someone, I'm going to talk to them differently than I talk to someone who I'm actively hanging out with and see all the time. So yeah, I would be hanging out with Brittany, and we were probably like, I don't know, talking shit or something. And then like a person who knows me from a class at Metro would be like, oh, hey, Cameron. And they would come out of nowhere while we're walking around Southwest Plaza. And of course, what am I going to do? I'm not going to just be like, oh, hi, I'm going to do The Kameron Show and be like, oh my God. But that's just how I communicate with people. Anyway, she found it to be very disingenuous. I don't think that it is, because I think it's a genuine part of who I am. And anyway, calling my podcast The Kameron Show was a way to reclaim
much
term.
Like another term earlier in this podcast.
Because, yeah, and honestly, you could say those terms are related. But the reason why I say that is because The Kameron Show, the podcast, is the exact opposite of what she meant it as. It's not disingenuous. It's having real conversations.
You've inverted it.
Like today, when I'm really putting it to the test and letting you host, and I'm sitting here and I told you before you came, you can ask anything you want and I will answer it. This is the opposite of what Brittany meant when she coined the term The Kameron Show.
And you were sweating a little bit right before we started.
I was very nervous, but then I did remind you my 3 favorite words are mutually assured destruction. Not that I even had to. Not that I had to.
Oh, I know that's always on the table.
He's a smart boy.
So with The Kameron Show, is there a part of The Kameron Show that I still haven't seen through?
Is there a part of The Kameron Show? I think as of last year, no. I think
year 9 was all it took.
Year 9, there was a particular era that I feel like probably was the final level. No, I don't think so. I think you've seen me. I don't know. Have you ever seen me cry?
Yeah, I think so. Trying to remember specifics. Although it is funny, I think some of the times where you and I have been in interactions where crying occurred, you did beat a hasty exit. And then you were like, hey, 5 minutes after you drove away, I did have a panic attack.
I had a panic attack. Yeah, I know exactly.
You're like, I had to remove myself. And I'm like,
yes.
Oh, yeah, that seems about right.
Yes. So, but like, I've never had like a mentee be in front of you in that way. But I have, that's because like in moments of crisis when I have called upon you, it's not that kind of crisis. It's like I was like unwell, but I wasn't like crying, but I wouldn't have I would cry in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think there is any part that you haven't seen.
Well, and it occurs to me, I'm like, is that a reflection of our partnership, that I've gotten in far enough that you're like, yes, you've come all the way backstage at this point and seen fully behind the curtain? Or is it truly just that there is less and less curtain all the time? Because even in the time we've known each other, I think the show maybe really has become more just the literal podcast than this social
I'm not there.
performance.
It's not a show. It's not. I am a for real person.
I'm a real boy.
I'm a real boy. I have done the work. Pinocchio's been healed or whatever. I honestly, no, you've seen more than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I can say very confidently. I don't think there's anything that you have, no stone you have left to turn over.
Oh, cute.
My hands are so cold because I'm still anxious.
Yeah, they are. Geez.
I'm very anxious about not hosting.
Okay, being conservative of our time, especially because I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions.
A little over. It's fine.
Okay. In that case, I saw you liked an Instagram post that said, quote, "If you lacked love as a kid, you learned to hallucinate it." Close quote. Now, obviously, from the thing that we brought up earlier, which was when I was trying to hallucinate love with someone and it went so poorly that you and I went no contact for 17 days. This really resonated with me as well. What's the imagined love you build today, and how does it protect you but keep you from the real thing?
I think that in recent years, if I have imagined love, it was confusing someone loving me for being someone's place to be. And I think that because I express my love as being a place to be for people, that has at times been confused by me when I am someone's place to be for love. And really it was maybe more transient than that. And I think that I do that because what was the second part of the question?
How does it protect you but keep the real thing away?
I don't know that it protects me. I think if anything, it is more detrimental than helpful. Does it maybe protect me because it gives me it creates something that's not really there? I don't know. That's hard for me to answer, I guess.
What do you mean by place to be? I don't think I've ever heard you use that phrase. Is that like time together? Literal, like physical
I think it's
proximity?
I think it is. I'm referring to that as like time together. Like, I think that love can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And the way that I express love is by creating space for someone. And when someone takes that space, I could interpret that as, oh my God, I've created the space. They've taken the space. That means that we love each other. It could just mean they need a space to take up. They don't have another space and they're taking that space right now. And it does not mean that. So that's what I mean by that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right. If you had to guess, very pursuant to the entire theme of this episode, and a question I had a lot of fun with. If you had to guess, who do you think is more afraid the other might leave this friendship? You or me?
I think it makes more sense that it's me. I've told you this. But I think I have worse abandonment issues than you do. So I think that explains it. I'm pretty open about this. Michael is a man who at less now, but in the beginning of our friendships reminded me literally of my father in a lot of ways. So yeah, I have expressed to you in times where we were in conflict that the main thing that led us to that conflict probably was my fear that you would leave my life.
Oh, right. Which, okay, that is so funny. It makes so much sense. But when you said that, I thought you gave a different answer that was equally compelling, because I thought you were saying you were most afraid that you would leave it.
Oh my God. I would never leave this.
Which I was like, that is funny, because it would echo my answer, because my answer, what I'm afraid of, is that you would be better at it than me.
Better at what?
At leaving.
Well, probably.
Because of all the stuff.
I probably
because
would
of
be,
all
but
the
I
stuff
don't want to do it.
We outlined before that if there came to a moment that pushed it, which we did get close before in the hallucinated relationship.
We've
from
told the
line.
Before.
We got close. We got 17 days.
But even then, I was never under the impression that our friendship was over. I didn't even want it to be like, an era of us not being friends. I didn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, to be clear, I've never thought you were going to leave.
Mm.
But it was close enough that it certainly frightened me. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny, because I think when we had that conversation that you were like, we're going to go no contact or whatever, you essentially needed space, which is funny because you talk about creating space or minimizing space is how you manage relationships, which I guess is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I think in the moment I was like, hey, I totally get it, and it's okay because we're going to be fine on the other side, and blah, blah, blah. I think I was just fully bluffing and being like, I think if I say this, it'll just be true, or like that's what he needs to hear right now, is me being like, hey man, take your time. It's all good. Like we're bigger than this. We're better than this.
And to give context to our friends at home, this is what happened. He was dating someone who was not good.
Not good.
He was dating this person. This person was really trying to convince him. This is my perception. You can correct me if you feel that I need to be corrected. This person was trying to convince him that he could be something that he is not. Okay. And it was hurting him. And there came a point in their relationship where, because he is not a compartmentalist, famously, he wanted this world that he had with this person and the world he has with me to combine. And because I was not supportive of the ways in which his relationship was hurting him, I refused. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, I was given an ultimatum. But the ultimatum wasn't a punishment for me. You said, well, if you can't be friends with this person, or you can't meet this person and get along with this person, I'm gonna have to break up with this person. And that pissed me off, because I went home and I was like, he's basically trying to say, if this fails with this person, which it's going to because this person is bad, then it's my fault for not being friends with this person. So he's telling me I either need to be friends with this person or it's going to end and it's going to be my fault. So what happened? And I said I need 2 to 3 business days to consider my response. And my response was, we went to Torchy's. And I said, I'm not down with either of those. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to give you space to pursue this with that friend, and I'm going to remove myself completely. And you know what? Maybe in the future, when I see that this is healthy and good, I'll write myself back in, and it'll be great. You guys broke up 7 days later. So what, did I get any of that wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
Because here's the key detail that makes it truly sick, is that
what?
She was the one that said, I have to meet Kameron in order for our relationship to work. So
you never said that to me.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Yes,
no, you said that. You made it
cage.
You made it seem like it was for you.
No. It was at the broken cage. I remember.
You made it seem like it was for you. You didn't say that she felt that way.
No, because we have talked about this previously.
No.
And you said, because one of the things that you hated most about that relationship was you could identify with parts of how she operated.
Oh, I knew that
and
bitch like the back of my hand. You are going to get me started right now.
You said, I knew she was bluffing because it's what I would have done, was be like,
I knew every move that girl was making.
I actually have to be friends with him for this to work. And you're like, and I knew she was bluffing, so I called her bluff and said, no, I want to give you space for it, and I'm going to step back, which was ironically very funny because basically when I told her that was your reaction to the whole thing, I was like, well, yeah, we're currently not speaking. She was like, well, now I feel like I've really impacted your friendship. So maybe you and I should go no contact. So for a brief period of time, I was no contact with both of you. Neither at my own request, but that is so funny.
Well,
and also, the best part about that was I always tell people that was the second time I got broken up with at Torchy's.
Yeah, a girl broke up with him at Torchy's, and then Torchy's is where we happened to have
really,
our conversation.
We couldn't have gone to Levin Deli for this. We had to go to Torchy's.
And our conversation was, yeah, I'm going to write myself out of this story completely, and best of luck to you. If it turns out to be healthy in the future, I'll come back in. How about that? And yeah, then they broke up 7 days later, and then I still didn't talk to you for another 10 days. Mm-hmm. And then I was
because you knew right away. You had your spies.
Oh, yeah. And I sent a message to him virtually. Tell them about it. Tell him about the emoji.
I don't even remember the emoji.
Okay. I'll just talk about it. This was in March of 2023, aka St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
They broke up.
Right.
We won't even get too deep into the details of it, but they broke up because of an event that happened at a St. Patrick's Day event. I heard about it, and I knew that he was still watching my Twitter. So when they broke up, to not break no contact and talk to him, but to let him know I knew what happened, I tweeted a 4-leaf clover.
Mm-hmm.
And then he knew that I knew. And I waited 10 more days, and then I was like, okay.
In the words of Celine Dion, it's all coming back to me. No.
And in the words of Celine Dion, that's the way it is.
And the best part about it was truly when we reconnected, you called me and you're like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm on my way to Nordstrom Rack, and you said, I'll come.
Yeah.
Which was the most on-brand reunion friend date we possibly could have done.
Yeah.
All right. We're looking like we're near the end of our time here. So I think it's time to move into final determination.
Okay.
If a gay man watching this episode thinks, I want a straight guy friend like that, what warnings would you give him?
Oh, God. What warnings would I give a fellow gay about who wants to have... I'm guessing you mean like this level of intimate friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, sometimes you're just going to hear stories that are not of your taste. But, also likewise for you.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard it all.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, God, I don't know. I warnings is crazy. I thought you were gonna say like, what advice would you give them? Or
advice is probably also, yeah. I'm really shading it with warnings.
Yeah, that
would you
is
recommend
such a
it?
Crazy word.
Would you say, yeah, go for it, go find one?
I hope that every gay man could have a friendship like I have with you, because I think that when I was a little boy, if I could dream the perfect friend for me, it would be you.
The second you said when I was a little boy, I'm like, oh, he's going to break me.
And I think I couldn't have even dreamed it because I didn't even know it could exist. And then you did. And I would wish for every gay boy to have a friendship with a straight man that would heal the terrifying fear of straight man that gay men can have. But I know that most gay men will never have the opportunity to have what I have with you. And so I'm very fortunate and I feel very lucky, and I can only hope that they'll even have the opportunity. So that's why warning sounds crazy to me.
Well, and I wish I could be that straight man for all of them, but I'm taken.
You're taken.
Man, your hands are so
They're
cold.
freezing. Yeah, don't like not hosting.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's the end of my questions. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Yes. The deal was that Michael could host this episode of The Kameron Show and he could talk about or ask anything he wanted. Oh, now you're putting on your shield.
Mm-hmm.
If I could ask him a sip, savor, and spill question. So I have 3 questions for you: a sip, a savor, and a spill. These are not random, because if he got to do a targeted attack, then same. And honestly, I don't even know now. I should have gone more targeted. But actually, I think these are good, and these are things that I would like to hear your answers to, because I genuinely don't know how you'll answer them.
Mm.
The first question in this last part of the show: if you could see your life from the outside for 30 seconds, what do you think would surprise you? If you were looking at your life from the outside.
From the outside? What does that mean?
If you were to look at your life and see you as someone else and not from your POV, what do you think would be surprising if you were able to step outside of yourself?
Is this a sip?
This is the sip.
Okay, great, because I immediately came up with two stupid answers.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm like, I feel like that's okay for sip. First thing I thought in my mind, outside myself means above me, and it's how bad my bald spot has gotten. Because every time I see any video where you can see me from behind, because I have the luxury of this view right here all the time. Sometimes I catch it in the back of a Snapchat video. I'm like, ooh,
oh, jump scare.
Oh. The funniest of all time was when I was at my sister's wedding. It was the first time I recognized I had a bald spot starting. Yeah. They had a camera at the back of the church and you could see the whole thing. And I'm in the front pew because it's my sister's wedding. And I can just see like a little dot. And I'm like, what is this? And okay. And that was the year I turned 30. So it all really aligned. And I like to think the other thing I would see if I was outside myself for 30 seconds, again, in that kind of third person remove view, is how many people look at my butt when I walk past them.
A lot of people look at his ass. He's got quite the caboose.
I've been told, caked up.
This honestly doesn't help the allegations either. They're like, not only is he gay, he's a big bottom.
I have been told on multiple occasions by gay men, what a waste.
What a waste.
Sorry,
what a waste.
That's genetics, babe.
Okay, those are fair. I will allow those answers because it's a sip question.
Okay.
SAVOR, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about straight men and emotional intimacy?
Oh my gosh, you were on the same theme as me.
Yeah, I know.
Straight men and emotional intimacy.
Yeah, what's the biggest misconception that people have?
I mean, we've obviously talked a lot about our friendship today, but I'm going to shout out my straights as well, because as you know, I do have a good group.
You do.
From like high school, college, back home in Nebraska, who we're still tight with. We just did, a few of us did our little like annual Top Golf reunion weekend last weekend. So they're very top of mind. And I do think that a lot of people take the generalized view of straight male relationships and kind of over apply it to everyone. And I will say there are pockets of us out there who are like very emotionally available, deeply interconnected, highly communicative, long running straight male friendships. And within ours, we talk a lot about how unique that is for us and other straight men we know, whether it's like guys from work or like, guys, boyfriends of like girlfriends, friends kind of thing, like the extended network of dudes you run into. We talk a lot about how when other guys hear that, even guys who don't have those relationships, straight guys, they almost unanimously express how jealous they are of that. There's very little like, oh, that's a little weird what you guys like talk to each other and plan trips together. And it's like, yeah, duh. And with my straight male friend group, those guys, it is like we have talked about all this stuff of like, when people in the friend group have become fathers, like what that means to them, or the insecurities or the worries they have and stuff with like relationships. And I'm within the friend group the person who's been in the most relationships. There's only 2 of us now who are not like fully married, and through all of those relationships, I've talked with all of them, kind of on the same level that I've talked with you. Obviously, you have a different perspective on it, but it's not a thing where, as much as I value our closeness and intimacy, it is fortunately not a thing where I'm like, oh, and then these other friends that I couldn't possibly talk to about this stuff. It's only Kameron. Like, I value so much of your insight on it, but I am very fortunate that I have a few people that I feel really comfortable being like, yeah, I don't know. And just, when it was at its lower points, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I've totally lost the ball. I keep making the same bad decision over and over again. And it's clearly something inside me is responding to this in a bad way, and being able to have that level of like vulnerability with other straight guys. I think the misconception is that like, that's not out there for anyone. And then second, that even people who don't have that, who are straight guys, the idea that they don't want that on some level. I think a lot of them just don't have the toolkit. They haven't had the opportunities, or they didn't have the toolkit to build and sustain something like that.
Yeah.
They maybe had a chance, but they like, oh, you know, all the stereotypes of like, oh, I forgot to like ask him how his day was, or blah, blah, blah. I've been very fortunate that I encountered a group of guys and we've all actively held it together to be like, oh yeah, we're going to be those guys for each other. And every time we talk about it, we're like, you know, we were on year 4 of our golf trip this year, and we're like, man, I can't wait for year 10. We're going to have to do something big.
Ugh.
And that we're all like, oh, we're obviously not going to let this drop off. We're going to make it a priority over and over again.
Well, and you have with kids, and it's
Mhm.
funny because you have your boys, I have my girls,
Mhm.
and it's very much the same thing where it's like it's maybe less surprising to people with me because it's
Mhm.
like I'm gay, they're girls, but it honestly, so much of the dynamic is the same, to the point where like me and the girls, when we get off the phone, we don't say love you. You guys say like love you, dude.
Oh yeah, big time.
I mean, yeah, truly that is very, very real. I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
shout out the girls, because
Love the
seeing
girls.
that, it's obviously I have the boys. I'm like, wow, that is really impressive in that same way that you guys have held together. I mean, it's impressive for anybody to keep groups of people together, because it's so easy for there to be kind of sand in the gears on any
Totally.
relationship over time. And the girls, you have better longevity than I do. Like my earliest is like junior year of high school.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
got like elementary school in there.
Yeah, Carissa and Mariah, 5th grade.
Truly impressive. And they're a great group, obviously, all of whom I have met, and big fan of all of them.
Iconic queens. All right, great. That was a great, great, great answer. My last question for you before we depart today. What is your current definition of love, and how has it changed in the last 10 years?
Oh my gosh, great question. It's so funny. So I think the easier thing is, how has it changed? Because
Okay.
if I'm looking back 10 years, I was 25.
2015.
Right. Well, 24 plus.
Yeah.
Not quite 35
Oh,
yet.
2016.
But yes, so at the time I was with I would have been with my ex in my, still to this day, longest relationship ever, which is obviously the person I was dating when we met. So that's well established in our backstory. And I think, especially coming out of that relationship, I did the classic, like, didn't really date a lot, at least like formally, in high school, college. It was like, oh, go out here, there. Oh, we're hanging out, a lot of that stuff, but not truly until that ex, not like a proper like girlfriend, long-term relationship, meet the parents, blah, 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 all that stuff. Coming out of that relationship, which was obviously when our friendship really started to develop, I think the main thing of love for me, going back to your idea of like place to be, love for me was the thing that like validated you and told you were worth something.
That's good.
Which I can't imagine that's like a huge surprise to you, having read my
No.
patterns,
Yeah.
especially early. Because also coming out of that long relationship was also COVID. All that stuff overlapped.
Yeah.
And I was crazy running around on park dates 3 times a week in the middle of a global pandemic.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of how I approached those situations and how I got myself in trouble was like, okay, do whatever it takes. Be whoever you need to be to get that stamp of approval. And the stamp of approval, the currency is, oh, a woman that you feel a certain way about, or she, you know, checks this certain slate of boxes, or is above this whatever threshold where it's like, oh yes, that makes her someone that validation is going to feel significant to me, was like the entire framework of my dating mindset. Was like, okay, you know, she has this personality, or, you know, sometimes literally she's this tall, or she's this level of pretty, or whatever, or this level of cool. As long as the cluster of that was there,
Yeah.
then it became, okay, great. So if she signs off on me enough to like spend time with me, be in an official relationship, any of those things, then that means I must be good. And if there's one thing that's beaten deep into my core, it's being a good boy.
Yeah.
A little corn-fed, Midwestern good boy, good, nice boy.
That part.
If she signs off on that, that means I'm good and I'm okay and I'm safe and I'm stable. And that's what everything about love was. In my mind at that time, love was essentially just the feeling of getting that validation.
Ugh.
And so luckily that has changed. Shout out my therapist, my former therapist, Dr. Allie. I graduated therapy. I don't like to brag about it, but she said, you're good to go. Part of the work with her, which was coming off of the really bad relationship that we keep hearkening back to throughout this episode, was getting off of that idea and being able to pivot love towards not the validation of, oh, you figured out how to perform or how to present yourself in such a way that a random person you've chosen as like worth it is designating, validating all of that.
Yeah.
It was that idea of pivoting to, okay, is the situation, relationship, whatever, date, is that validating who you really want to be or who you really are? Probably even who you really are. I led with who you want to be, and I'm like, oh, that's the same problem, because then it's an aspirational thing that's not real.
Yeah.
And kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the like, are you willing to be ugly in front of them? That hits for me because that is a struggle. As much as I'm grilling you on like performance, I just have a different performance.
Yeah.
And I think it's that getting myself to a point where I'm not doing as much of the performance, and then who can come into that authentic space and be like, oh, I like this. And really even beyond that, it's like getting myself to a point where if a person who, you know, is around for whatever amount of time likes that or not, I can continue to coexist with them, not meaning, oh, okay, so out of these 7 things, they like 4 of them, so that's enough. And I've got time to change the other 3.
Loved a math equation.
Getting myself into the part where I go, oh, okay, they like 4 or 5. These 2 things, that's just like who I'm going to be, and that's not something I'm like negotiating on, and it's not an actual problem, so I don't need to change that, and I can just exist in a space where it's, you know, 5 out of 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
So weirdly, I think my definition of love has really, over 10 years, the definition has changed even less than where the focus of it is, because, as no surprise, I think over the last 10 years, what I really needed to do and have made progress on is loving myself first. And I hate to say that. It sounds so trite, but it is.
I mean, it's the main thing.
It's a cliche for a reason. Some cliches are just true.
So then what's the definition of love?
So the definition of love, I think, is, and again, I'm also deeply bred on like romance, partnership. Those are like core things for me, where those are always going to be a defining part of my life. So I think for me, where I am right now in life, my definition of love is finding somebody who adds to that or complements that self-love, rather than fracturing me from focusing on that to be like, oh, let me go be the thing that you need me to be. Where it's like, if I'm over here working on this thing and loving myself, and it's somebody who can like walk up beside that and be like, whoa, dude, that's like really cool.
Yeah.
I'm into that. And then I'm like, oh, what? Word? Okay.
Yes.
That's what love is now. I hope, and I think. Still working on it.
Well, aren't we all? Aren't we all? All right. Well, why don't you close out the show?
Well, friends, thank you for joining us here today on the Kameron Show. Yeah. And I have done so many episodes of this that I think I can do. Do you have any parting thought for the audience?
Well, this is our season finale. But we'll be back in a few months, God willing, for season 3. And we'll do a summer season, and it's going to be amazing and great. And I hope everyone will come back. And this has been a fabulous first season at Dude IDK, second season of the podcast. And I'm just so thankful to Dude IDK, producer Nick, producer Jacob, producer Michael, for starting this whole thing with me. and for every person who's come on the show and for every person who's hung out with us at home. And that's all I have.
All right. And as we know, Cameron ends the Cameron Show every time with a 3-part saying that I can't remember right now. So I'm going to say, stay messy, stay blessy, and keep on dancing.
Well, close. Look, live your best life. Don't be a dick. I love you. Goodbye.